Do you think men look better bald? 0207 862 2222. That's the number. Do give me a ring. Former pro footballer Wayne Bridge is the latest celeb to show off the results of his £7,000 hair transplant. Let's have a look at this.
I'm just having a look at the before pictures now. I kind of knew it was that bad, but obviously I covered it up well. So like anyone that didn't really know how bad it was, if they see these, like the transformation is pretty unbelievable, to be honest.
Well, 44-year-old Wayne's very pleased with it, isn't he? He says the procedure's given him a massive confidence boost after spending years trying to hide his thinning hair. It's suggested around 85% of men lose their hair by the age of 50, and some, like actor Stanley Tucci, are famously embracing their baldness. But what do you think? Do you think men look better as slapheads? As long as they don't do that comb over, that's the crucial thing. I mean, I think for no particular reason, we'll start with you, Marvyn. Why not?
So what's really interesting, I lost my hair at 28, and I remember going on, I was getting married, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, this is not sustainable. And this would be the last day that I attempt to try to fix all of this and keep the hairline together.
Explain the bit where you were fixing and keeping the hairline.
So basically your hairline goes back in here, you get created like a little M, and then your crown starts to go. And then I realized it was happening, and my relationship with my barber was like, this is gonna end soon. So I said my goodbyes, and then I just started going bald. And I've never really thought about it afterwards. In the moment, I was really sad. But by the time, after about a year or two, I just got really used to it, and I actually can't imagine my hair with a hairline.
With hair. What did the bride-to-be say? I mean, did she realise she was marrying
she was very happy.
She was happy?
Clearly.
She said yes.
Clearly. But I think it was more just, you know, it's just like, I think you have an opinion of it, but you don't tell that to your husband.
And tell me about hair transplants, because apparently they're more and more successful. You see, old Wayne Bridge is delighted with his. Would you consider it?
I have a really strong view, because I looked at him and I was like, I don't know if that improves it that much for £7,000, right? And Wayne Bridge, I love you. I don't mean to be personal, but I don't think it was worth the headache. And I think for a lot of men, naturally just aging well is the most important thing. I think if you're in shape and you're genuinely like have virality, I think you'll be fine.
Does anyone ever say you look as if your head's turned upside down?
Never.
All the hair on the bottom
My son.
and no hair on the top half. You're like,
my son mocks me profusely. He has an incredible head of hair, and he mocks me. Everybody else probably is either too scared or wise to not do that.
Me, I should just not mention it, should I?
Well, you've did it twice. It's the third time, actually. It's the
what
third
can
time.
I do with it? It's disgusting, not my fault. Let's bring Georgie into this. Bald men attractive or?
What's attractive?
Yeah.
Is confidence, Vanessa. The thing with Wayne Bridge there, clearly he wasn't confident with the sort of tufts that he had. Sorry, there's a better way of putting that. I love you too, Wayne.
Sprigs?
Whatever. But, you know, if he'd have shaved it and have just gone for it, like Stanley Tucci, The Rock, you know, but Jason Statham... You know, sorry, you know, obviously. And I'm not just saying this because we have Marvyn here. No, I think it's how you carry yourself. But what I was smiling at listening to you speak there was you're having the same old discussions that women have been having for years. Let's just grow old gracefully, all that sort of thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want men to have to go through the sort of pain of the financial pain, the physical pain of all the things that we do to try and stay young. But it is interesting now the boot's on the other foot. I'm all for it. If it makes you feel happy and confident, you go for it. I think he looks fabulous. But then I think if he shaved his head and just embraced it, I think he'd look equally fabulous, as long as he owned it.
I mean, there's definitely a currency, Francine, isn't there, in the silver fox? And when you say silver fox, you're thinking George Clooney, whatever. And it's the hair, isn't it? It's just this guy who's got older, but somehow managed to hang on to his follicles. And there they are, sweeping back in the breeze. Remember Michael Heseltine with that fabulous kind of mane? He's striding Westminster corridors with hair blowing in the breeze. And, you know, if you're a woman, you're supposed to think, ooh, and some men as well, of course, proclivities. You know, I'd like to run my hands through that marvellous flowing sort of leonine mane, core, fabulous, that thing. And so if it all falls out, it's the end for the silver fox. You're no longer a silver fox.
Well, look, Bruce Willis carries it fantastically, but I don't think Wayne Bridge would have looked right without hair. I'm sorry, some people just don't have the right sort of head
bone structure.
Do you know what I mean? Or
head shape.
The key thing is you need to have a beard. You can't have both.
No,
you're confusing it if you're doing both.
No,
You've got to keep one.
Not everyone suits it. And I had an ex-boyfriend whose dad wore a wig. Okay, now I didn't know this for many years. I was with him 12 years. This is true. And every time we went out and we went back to his house, he'd leave me outside for 5 minutes, and I thought, this is really weird. Why, you know, why is it? He'd go and check if his dad had his wig on. Now, he looked great with this wig, And now, seeing him on social media, because obviously I haven't seen my ex for years, I understand why he wore the wig. Because he's now he's just...
And he looks terrible without the wig.
He looks terrible. Oh, God, I hope you're not watching. But
you know you're saying this because you hope he is watching, and that's why she's saying it's definitely some revenge is a dish best eaten cold. That is what we can all see what you're doing.
He just didn't have the right head shape for no hair. Right. But some people do pull it off great. I mean, and some men have hair transplants because they're receding slightly, maybe on the sides. I do think transplants can look very odd as well when you put it in certain places, and sometimes
it looks like little rows of corn just kind of sticking up, each individually planted. But it's also true, isn't it, that you can have the hairline tattooed on.
Yes,
that's
it's also horrible. There's a spray, there's a black powder spray that you can do. All of it is a really bad idea.
But just it really suits Marvyn.
Your fate.
I was once, I don't know if I should tell this or not, but it is true. I was once in makeup at This Morning many years ago, and I was sitting in makeup next to Paul Simon, as in Simon and Garfunkel, and I think they were spraying his head with shoe polish. And that's what they were just basically painting his skull black, spraying like with spray paint, so that when he went on, it looked like he had a head of hair. Honestly, let's take a look at some Hollywood hunks with great hair and decide if actually they'd look an awful lot better without it. So first of all is Henry Cavill. Here he is with his customary head of hair, looking delightful, obviously. And here he is without, not half bad.
He looks better without.
What do you think?
No.
Better without, I think. No?
No.
I think his head looks a little bit big, but I think he does look better without. He will be great into his 50s.
So he doesn't have to worry.
He hasn't got to worry. His life will still continue.
All right, now what
well.
about Tom Hiddleston? Famous for his hair, and a little bit of a quiff going on there, lovely sort of bouncy, springy looking hair. And this is how he'd look without it, if it was thinning.
Oh,
Not so great, you think?
No.
I think
his hair is his personality, so no.
And finally, the ultimate silver fox of all time, George Clooney. And we know that he had to dye it black or dark brown for a part recently, and Amal apparently found it ghastly. And he kept apologising, sorry, it's only for a part, I'm not really colouring it, because it's got that great silvery colour. And here he is without any hair.
No.
No.
No good?
It looks like Jurgen Klopp.
Looks like Patrick Stewart, I thought.
That's a good reference.
Right?
Yes.
Definitely suits his hair.
Better with hair?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk to
100%.
Grace in Devon. Grace, what do you think?
Well, all my friends would know I'm very into hairy men, so bald is totally out.
And when you say hairy men, Grace, are we thinking all over, like total body hair, hairy shoulders?
Definitely. Hairy chest, hairy back, hairy bum.
Hairy bum? Oh, gosh, it's the first time I've ever said that on this. I've never used the words hairy bum, and I bet my grandchildren aren't even watching. They would love to hear me say that on the radio, on the television. Grace, so do you know why? Is it why it's always been?
No, it's just a turn on of mine, and it's always been like that.
Right. And so, does that mean you would eliminate a bald man? You just wouldn't even, feature on your radar?
I wouldn't look at him, no.
No, but Grace, this is true. Most bald men have more head on their bodies. It seems to be they've got hairy bodies and no hair on their heads, which is really interesting. She certainly wouldn't like an Essex man if she likes hairy bums and everything else.
Why? Because they're always
They shave it all off.
Yes.
No. Seriously, 100% definitely. In Essex, we like it all off. You don't like me, seriously.
Grace, thank you. Let's go to Rosie in Southampton. What do you think, Rosie?
I think the gentleman on the sofa looks fabulous.
That's Marvyn.
Thank you so much.
Marvyn, I think he looks fabulous. And when I met my husband, he was only 43. This is my second husband. I'm a lot older. I'm 11 years older. And he had hair, just like the gentleman on the sofa. And he kept going to the barbers, wasting money. And I thought, why don't you just shave the damn lot off? And he did. And I just love bald men. I think they look so sexy. They're lovely. And I think the world's changing anyway. And all the men are mostly bald now. And I think all young girls and women, I think we like bald men. The world's changing now. Men shouldn't have this insecurity about, oh my God, am I losing my hair? I do feel sorry for boys. I've got grandsons that are 30 and they're worried about their hair. I think, no, just let it go. It's better to let it go completely than have bits of hair growing. I think that makes you look older.
Agreed.
I mean, the comb over. Do you remember the comb over in the old days? Or you might say these days, because I mean, Donald Trump insists every shred of hair on his head is grown from his actual head. But I think we assume it's kind of whisked around, a bit like a kind of whipped coffee, isn't it? It kind of goes round and round and round until it fills in all the gaps. Isn't that what's going on with that?
Well, he looks like, to me, he wears a toupee.
I don't think he does. He says he doesn't.
I don't know. I
thought it was an ultimate comb over.
Something.
I think he wears a toupee.
It is something. Rosie, if you ever want a third husband, please do let me know. we might align just in time. You never know.
Is it true that your husband's considering a transplant?
Well, he feels just round the sides here, he's slightly receding, and he would like a hair transplant. He talks about it all the time. But like you
here
say,
he is. I'm trying to look at his hair and see. He looks handsome.
He is a good-looking guy, and he always had a really good head of hair. I mean, his hair's still fine, but as you get older, men do seem to lose it just on the sides there, don't they? So I do think if he wants one and that makes him more confident, why not? Like you said, we do things to make us feel more confident.
And also, since they do seem to be more successful than they used to be, because they didn't Elton John have several, Sir Elton, and I think they were all a complete catastrophe, and then he ended up wearing a syrup.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's better than looking like a William Hague, you know, when you have just the hair around the sides and bald all the rest.
Remind me to never fall out with you.
I know, wow.